Brothers and sisters in faith, in these challenging times, when trials test our unity and purpose, I speak to you not only as fellow believers, but as part of one ummah, one body bound by the words of Allah and the example of His beloved Messenger. Today I call upon your strength, your patience, and your unshakable faith. As Muslims, we are bearers of a trust, protectors of justice, mercy, and dignity. Our communities may face hardship, uncertainty, and even oppression, but our hearts must remain steadfast, for victory belongs to those who remain sincere and committed to the truth. We must remember the words of our Lord. Indeed, Allah is with those who are patient. Let not hardship break your resolve. Let not fear separate you from one another. Be united, whether you are in cities or villages, whether you hold positions of leadership or serve quietly behind the scenes. This unity is our shield, and our faith is our light. Let us raise our hands in prayer and our voices in truth. Let us support one another, not only with words, but with action, with charity, with protection, with love. Our strength lies not in weapons or wealth, but in our belief, in our discipline, and in our readiness to stand for what is right. Teach your children the Quran. Honor your elders, respect your women, defend your neighbors. Do not allow hatred or division to infect your hearts. Be proud of who you are, and never be ashamed to live your Islam with courage and dignity. To those who are struggling, know that you are not alone. Every difficulty is a test, and every test is an opportunity to grow closer to Allah. Never despair, for even in the darkest nights, the dawn surely comes. May Allah protect you, strengthen you, and keep you firm. May He guide our youth, purify our intentions, and unite our ranks. And may He grant this ummah the honor and peace it so rightfully deserves. Muslims must remain united, regardless of geography, race, culture, or social status. This unity is not a luxury or an option. It is a divine command and a necessity for the strength and survival of the ummah. When we look at the teachings of the Quran and the life of the Prophet Muhammad, we see that unity among believers is one of the most emphasized principles in Islam. Allah says in the Quran, "And hold firmly to the rope of Allah, all together, and do not become divided." This verse is not a suggestion. It is a direct command from our Creator, telling us that our strength and success lie in our ability to come together as one body. The Prophet also made it clear that the believers are like a single body. When one part suffers, the entire body feels the pain. This analogy shows us that a wound in one corner of the ummah affects us all. Whether a Muslim is suffering in Africa, Asia, Europe, or anywhere else, their struggle is our struggle. When we allow ourselves to be divided by politics, by tribalism, by nationalism, or by petty disputes, we weaken the entire structure of our community. These divisions become cracks in the foundation of our unity, and over time, they grow into barriers that prevent us from supporting and understanding one another. Throughout history, we have seen that the decline of the Muslim world often followed periods of deep internal division. When Muslims stood together, they built civilizations, led in knowledge, and inspired the world. But when they turned against one another, the enemies of Islam found opportunities to exploit that weakness. The lesson is clear. Unity is our strength, and division is our downfall. In today's world, the challenges facing Muslims are many. From economic hardship to political instability, from media attacks to open aggression, we are being tested in every direction. Yet in many places, Muslims remain disunited. Some are caught in sectarian conflicts, others in power struggles, and some are consumed by jealousy and mistrust. These are diseases of the heart that destroy the very spirit of brotherhood that Islam teaches us to uphold. To restore unity, we must begin by purifying our intentions. We must remind ourselves that our ultimate goal is to please Allah, not to gain personal power or recognition. We must listen more and judge less. We must learn to forgive, to overlook faults, and to work toward common goals. This requires humility, patience, and a sincere desire for the well-being of the ummah as a whole. Unity does not mean uniformity. It is not necessary for every Muslim to think, speak, or live exactly the same way. Islam allows for diversity in opinion within the framework of the Quran and Sunnah. But what it does demand is mutual respect, love, and cooperation among believers. It demands that we prioritize the bigger picture, the preservation of our faith, the safety of our communities, and the dignity of our people. Every Muslim has a role to play in building unity. It starts at the family level, in our homes. It continues in our mosques, our schools, and our workplaces. We must teach our children the value of Muslim brotherhood and sisterhood. We must remind ourselves and each other that we are part of something greater than ourselves, a global ummah that shares one God, one book, and one direction in prayer. When we unite, we can overcome any hardship. Our enemies know this, which is why they invest so much in keeping us divided. They fear a united Muslim people who stand firmly for justice, truth, and dignity. But when we live divided, we become easy targets for manipulation, oppression, and defeat. We must not let this continue. Let us strive to see each other, not through the lens of our differences, but through the light of our shared faith. Let us rebuild the bonds of love, respect, and mutual support that once made our ummah a beacon of strength and hope. Let us remember that the Muslim who helps his brother is helped by Allah. Let us choose unity, not just in our words, but in our hearts and in our actions. Only then can we begin to rise again, stronger and more united than ever before. In times of hardship, when the trials of life seem overwhelming and the path ahead appears unclear, it is easy for the heart to become restless, for despair to creep in, and for our faith to waver. Yet, as believers, it is precisely in these moments of adversity that we are called upon to embody the highest level of patience and unwavering trust in Allah. Patience is not merely a passive endurance of difficulty. It is a profound act of submission to the will of Allah, trusting that every challenge serves a purpose and that our Lord is with us through it all. The concept of sabr in Islam is far deeper than simply waiting for a difficult situation to pass. It involves a steadfastness of heart, a clarity of mind, and a willingness to accept the test while continuing to strive for good. In the Quran, Allah commands us to be patient in times of difficulty, stating, "And be patient, and your patience is not but through Allah." This verse is a reminder that the strength to endure hardship does not come from within ourselves alone. It is a gift from Allah. He is the one who grants us the resilience to remain firm when the world seems to be collapsing around us. It is natural for humans to feel a sense of loss or frustration when faced with hardships, whether it be illness, financial difficulties, the loss of a loved one, or the trials of daily life. But the true believer knows that these trials are not meaningless. They are part of the divine plan. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, tests His servants not to cause harm, but to purify them, to strengthen their faith, and to remind them of their dependence on Him. As the Prophet said, if Allah loves a servant, He tests him. This hadith shows that hardship can be a sign of Allah's love and a means of bringing us closer to Him. The key to navigating these difficult times is not simply to endure with resignation, but to remain hopeful and actively seek to improve our condition through faith, prayer, and righteous actions. We must remember that Allah does not place a burden on any soul greater than it can bear. This promise is a source of comfort, for it reassures us that no matter how heavy the burden may seem, we have the strength to carry it with Allah's help. Faith in Allah's plan is what gives the believer the strength to endure without losing heart. When we trust in Allah, we understand that every test has a reason, even if we cannot comprehend it at the time. In these moments, the believer draws closer to Allah through supplication, prayer, and reflection. The more we turn to Him in our times of need, the stronger our connection with Him becomes. This connection is what enables us to withstand the storms of life, knowing that Allah is always with us, listening to our cries, and responding to our needs. Patience does not mean that we remain passive or inactive. Instead, it means that we maintain a positive attitude and persevere while actively seeking solutions. The Prophet taught us to take action while trusting in Allah's decree. For example, when the Prophet experienced the loss of his beloved son, Ibrahim, he wept, but he remained patient, knowing that Allah had a greater plan. He said, "The eyes are shedding tears, and the heart is grieving, but we do not say except what pleases our Lord." This shows that while it is natural to grieve and feel pain, the believer's heart remains at peace, knowing that Allah's wisdom transcends our understanding. The beauty of sabr lies in its ability to transform our hearts. When we endure with faith, we begin to experience a deeper sense of gratitude and a greater awareness of Allah's mercy. We realize that in every hardship, there is an opportunity for spiritual growth. It is through our struggles that we are often reminded of the blessings we take for granted, the health we enjoy, the provision we have, the love of family and friends. Patience nurtures a sense of inner peace, for when we place our trust in Allah, we are no longer burdened by worry over the future or regrets about the past. We become focused on the present moment, seeking to please Allah in all that we do. Moreover, patience is a key to unlocking Allah's rewards. Allah promises in the Quran that the patient will be rewarded beyond measure. Indeed, the patient will be given their reward without account. This reward is not only in the hereafter but also in this life. Patience cultivates a sense of tranquility and resilience, allowing us to remain steadfast in the face of trials and to grow in our relationship with Allah. For the believer, every trial becomes an opportunity to earn Allah's favor. Every moment of patience, every act of gratitude, and every prayer in times of difficulty brings us closer to Him. It is in these moments of struggle that we develop a greater sense of reliance on Allah, understanding that we are never alone, even in the most challenging circumstances. We are reminded that Allah is closer to us than our jugular vein, and He hears our supplications before they leave our lips. So when you face adversity, remember that Allah is always with you. Embrace patience, for it is a means of purification, a way to grow in your relationship with Him, and a path to eternal reward. And never forget that the one who remains patient and faithful, trusting in Allah's wisdom, will emerge from the trial stronger and more beloved to Allah than before. In our daily lives, we are constantly presented with opportunities to reflect the teachings of Islam through our actions, words, and behavior. Islam is not merely a set of rituals performed at specific times. It is a complete way of life, a system that guides us in every aspect of our existence. To live according to Islam means to embody its core values in every interaction, every decision, and every situation we face. Among these values, justice, mercy, dignity, and honesty stand out as pillars that uphold the moral and ethical framework that Islam has set for us. Justice in Islam is not merely the execution of laws or the resolution of disputes. It is a deeper commitment to fairness, equality, and the protection of human rights. The Quran is clear in its call to act justly, even when it is against our own interests or the interests of our loved ones. Allah commands in the Quran, "O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against yourselves or your parents and relatives." This principle calls us to set aside our biases and prejudices and treat all people with fairness, regardless of their background, status, or relationship to us. True justice in Islam means that we act with integrity, upholding the rights of others, and speaking the truth even when it is difficult. Living a life of justice requires a constant self-awareness and accountability. We must recognize when we are wronging others, whether through neglect, unfair treatment, or dishonesty, and take the necessary steps to correct our actions. In a world where injustice often seems to prevail, the believer's commitment to justice becomes a powerful testimony to the values of Islam. It is through justice that we build trust and peace in our communities and establish a society where the rights of all individuals are respected and upheld. Mercy is another central value in Islam, and it is intimately tied to the way we treat others. Allah describes Himself as the most merciful, the most compassionate, and He encourages us to reflect this divine quality in our dealings with others. Mercy, in Islam, is not just about offering forgiveness, it is also about showing kindness, patience, and understanding in our interactions. The Prophet Muhammad was known for his extraordinary compassion, always offering help to those in need, comforting the distressed, and forgiving those who wronged him. He would often say, "Whoever does not show mercy will not be shown mercy." This highlights the importance of mercy as a key part of our character as Muslims. In our daily lives, mercy means treating others with kindness, offering second chances, and understanding their struggles. It means being patient with others' shortcomings and forgiving them when they err. It is easy to respond to negativity with anger or frustration, but Islam calls us to rise above that and respond with mercy, just as Allah, in His infinite mercy, continues to forgive and overlook our faults despite our constant shortcomings. Mercy helps us build harmonious relationships, encourage personal growth in others, and create a compassionate society. Dignity, too, is a core value that Islam upholds. Every human being is created by Allah with inherent dignity, and Islam teaches us to respect that dignity in ourselves and others. The Quran reminds us of this truth when it states, "And we have certainly honored the children of Adam." To live with dignity means to hold ourselves to a high moral standard and to act in a way that reflects our worth as human beings. It also means that we treat others with the same respect and honor, recognizing their value and humanity. Dignity in Islam is closely connected to self-respect and humility. While we are taught to carry ourselves with honor, we are also reminded to avoid arrogance or pride. The Prophet said, "Whoever has an atom's weight of pride in his heart will not enter paradise. True dignity is not in how others perceive us, but in how we present ourselves before Allah. It is the understanding that our worth is not determined by wealth, status, or material possessions, but by our relationship with Allah, our adherence to His commands, and our treatment of others. By upholding dignity, we contribute to a society that values respect, kindness, and honor over superficial distinctions. Honesty is the cornerstone of Islamic character. Islam places a great emphasis on truthfulness in every aspect of life. The Prophet was known as Al-Amin, the trustworthy, even before he received the revelation of the Quran, due to his consistent honesty in dealings with others. In a society where lies and deceit have become commonplace, Muslims are called to be the beacon of truth. Allah commands in the Quran, "O you who have believed, fear Allah and speak words of appropriate justice." Honesty is not only about telling the truth, but also about being truthful in our intentions, actions, and commitments. To live Islamically means that we fulfill our promises, uphold our agreements, and are transparent in all of our dealings, whether personal or professional. Honesty builds trust and creates an environment of integrity and reliability. It is through honesty that we strengthen our relationships and our credibility, not only as Muslims but as individuals of moral character. Islam teaches us that deception, whether in small matters or large, is a form of dishonoring our faith, as it disturbs the harmony of society and tarnishes the trust people place in one another. Living these values, justice, mercy, dignity, and honesty, requires conscious effort and continual self-reflection. It is not enough to simply hold these ideals in our hearts. We must actively embody them in every aspect of our lives. Our character is the greatest reflection of our faith, and the way we treat others speaks volumes about the sincerity of our belief. When we uphold these Islamic values in our daily lives, we not only improve ourselves but also contribute to the betterment of society. By living Islam with pride, we become beacons of guidance for others and show the world the true beauty of our faith. True brotherhood in Islam is not a mere concept or abstract idea. It is a living, breathing principle that must be reflected in our actions, behaviors, and interactions with others. It is a bond built on faith, empathy, and a deep sense of shared responsibility. In Islam, the concept of brotherhood is a sacred trust, a trust to support one another through life's trials and challenges, not just in times of ease, but especially during hardship. The Prophet Muhammad has said, "The believers are like a body. When one part of the body hurts, the whole body feels the pain." This powerful analogy illustrates the profound sense of solidarity that Muslims are meant to embody. True brotherhood is not just about offering words of comfort or showing support when it is convenient, but about standing together through thick and thin, through actions that demonstrate genuine care, compassion, and solidarity. One of the key components of this brotherhood is charity. Islam teaches us that wealth and resources are not solely for our own benefit, but are a means by which we can assist those who are less fortunate. Charity is a fundamental part of our faith, and it is considered an obligation for those who are able to give. The Quran encourages believers to give generously, stating, "The example of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah is like a seed of grain that produces 7 ears, each bearing 100 grains." This verse underscores the importance of giving, not only for the benefit of the recipient, but also as a means of increasing our own rewards in the sight of Allah. Charity, however, is not limited to monetary donations. It extends to acts of kindness, offering a helping hand, providing food or shelter, or simply lending a listening ear. It is through these acts of giving that we strengthen the bonds of brotherhood, demonstrating that we are truly invested in one another's well-being. True solidarity is not just about helping when it is easy, but also when it requires personal sacrifice. Whether it is offering assistance to someone in financial distress, helping a neighbor with their burdens, or offering comfort to a friend in pain, every act of charity strengthens the ties that bind us together as one ummah. Support and solidarity also manifest in protection. Islam teaches us to stand up for one another, especially in times of injustice or danger. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Whoever helps his brother in his time of need, Allah will help him in his time of need." This principle emphasizes the importance of defending one another, not only from physical harm but also from emotional, social, or spiritual hardship. When we see our fellow Muslims being oppressed or wronged, it is not enough to remain silent or indifferent. We are obligated to act, to speak out, and to protect the rights of those who cannot defend themselves. This protection is not just about responding to physical threats. It extends to defending the dignity, reputation, and honor of others. Islam calls us to avoid gossip, slander, and backbiting, as these actions harm the individual and weaken the community. Protecting each other's honor, speaking up when we witness wrongdoing, and offering support in times of need are all ways in which we can manifest our solidarity with one another. By doing so, we fulfill the command of the Prophet, who said, "A Muslim is the brother of another Muslim. He does not wrong him, nor does he abandon him." In addition to charity and protection, mutual care is another vital aspect of Islamic brotherhood. This means looking out for the welfare of our brothers and sisters not just in moments of crisis, but also in everyday life. It is about showing genuine concern for one another's emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being. Islam encourages us to ask after one another, to offer support, and to share in both the joys and sorrows of life. The Prophet said, "None of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself." This teaching reminds us that our love and concern for our fellow Muslims should not be limited to our immediate family or circle of friends. It should extend to all members of the Ummah. Mutual care involves nurturing relationships that are built on trust, empathy, and respect. It means being present for others, offering encouragement, and providing guidance when needed. Sometimes, mutual care also means holding each other accountable, gently reminding one another of the importance of following the path of righteousness and staying true to our faith. In doing so, we not only help each other grow, but also contribute to the strength and cohesion of the entire community. True solidarity in Islam also means recognizing that we are all equal in the sight of Allah, regardless of our social status, wealth, or background. The Prophet taught us that in the eyes of Allah, the best among us are those who are most pious, not those who are most wealthy or influential. This understanding should shape the way we support one another, ensuring that we treat each other with equal respect and care. Whether a person is rich or poor, powerful or weak, we are all brothers and sisters in faith, and our support for one another should reflect this equality. In a world where individualism often takes precedence and where people are increasingly isolated from one another, the message of Islamic brotherhood stands as a powerful antidote to division. It calls us to move beyond self-interest and to work towards the collective well-being of the Ummah. True brotherhood is not about convenience or self-gain. It is about mutual support, sacrifice, and genuine care. It is about standing with one another through both the good times and the bad, offering our help when needed, and creating a community that is united in its faith, its values, and its commitment to the welfare of all its members. Ultimately, the bonds of brotherhood in Islam are a means of fulfilling our duties to Allah and to one another. When we embody the principles of charity, protection, and mutual care, we not only strengthen our relationships with each other, but also draw closer to Allah, who is the ultimate source of support and solidarity. Through these acts of kindness and compassion, we reflect the true spirit of Islam and build a community that is rooted in faith, love, and unwavering solidarity. The family is the cornerstone of society in Islam, and the role it plays in nurturing and strengthening the community cannot be overstated. The Quran and Hadith emphasize that a strong family foundation is essential not only for individual well-being, but also for the health and cohesion of the entire Ummah. In a world where the concept of family is often undervalued or misunderstood, Islam offers clear guidance on how to build and maintain strong, harmonious families, which in turn foster a thriving and resilient community. One of the key responsibilities within the family is the education of children, particularly in the teachings of the Quran and the Sunnah. Islam places a great emphasis on the importance of teaching the Quran to children from an early age. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The best of you are those who learn the Quran and teach it." Parents are the first teachers, and the home is the first school. By instilling a love for the Quran and the values it teaches, parents set the foundation for their children's understanding of faith, morality, and character. This teaching is not limited to mere recitation. It encompasses the understanding of the Quranic teachings and their application in daily life. Teaching children the Quran is not just about memorization. It is about helping them internalize the message of Allah, shaping their worldview, and guiding them toward righteous living. The role of the mother in this process is especially vital. In Islam, mothers are honored with a special status. As the Prophet said, "Paradise lies at the feet of your mother." Mothers are often the primary caregivers and educators in a child's early years, and their influence on their children's spiritual and moral development is profound. Teaching children the importance of prayer, honesty, respect, and kindness begins at home, with the mother as the first example. However, the father's role is equally crucial. He is the protector, the provider, and the guide, setting an example for his children in terms of how to live with integrity, uphold justice, and show respect to others. Together, both parents create a balanced and nurturing environment where children can learn, grow, and develop a deep connection to their faith. Respect for elders is another important aspect of Islamic family life. The Quran commands believers to show kindness and respect to their parents, especially in their old age. Allah says, "And we have enjoined upon man care for his parents. His mother carried him with hardship upon hardship, and his weaning is in 2 years. Be grateful to me and to your parents. To me is the final destination." The Prophet also emphasized this respect, saying, "He is not one of us who does not show mercy to our young ones and who does not respect our elders." In a society that often marginalizes the elderly, Islam calls on the younger generation to honor and care for their parents and elders, particularly as they age. This respect is not only about providing for their physical needs, but also ensuring that their emotional and spiritual well-being is nurtured. By creating an environment where elders are cared for and respected, we promote a sense of community, compassion, and mutual support. It also helps preserve the wisdom and values passed down from one generation to the next, ensuring continuity and cohesion within the family and community. Islam also places great importance on honoring women, whose roles in the family and society are crucial. Women in Islam are not merely caregivers, they are essential partners in building strong families and communities. The Quran speaks about the equality of men and women in terms of their shared humanity and their mutual rights and responsibilities. Allah says, "And for women are rights over men, similar to those of men over women." This balance of rights and responsibilities ensures that women are treated with dignity, respect, and fairness, both within the family and in society. Women are to be honored not just for their role as mothers and wives, but also for their individual identities and contributions as daughters, sisters, and community members. The Prophet repeatedly emphasized the importance of treating women with respect and kindness. He said, "The best of you are those who are the best to their women." A strong community begins with the recognition of the central role that women play in shaping society. Women are the nurturers of the next generation, the educators of the young, and the keepers of family values. By empowering women and ensuring they are treated with honor, society creates a foundation for positive growth and stability. This empowerment does not only mean providing education and opportunities for women, but also ensuring that they are given their rights to health, safety, and participation in all aspects of life. A community that honors and respects women is a community that values human dignity and strives for justice for all its members. The protection of neighbors is another significant aspect of Islamic social teaching. The Prophet said, "Whoever believes in Allah and the last day, let him honor his neighbor." This hadith teaches that a strong sense of community is built on the foundation of mutual care and respect for those around us, whether they are part of our immediate family or not. The neighbor in Islam is not limited to those who live next door, but extends to anyone who is within our proximity or who we interact with regularly. Islam encourages us to show kindness, empathy, and respect to our neighbors, to be mindful of their needs, and to offer help when required. Protecting the rights of neighbors means ensuring that they feel safe, valued, and cared for. It also means resolving conflicts amicably, treating them with courtesy, and maintaining positive, supportive relationships with them. Ultimately, a strong community is built on the foundation of strong families. When families are centered around faith, respect, mutual support, and love, the entire society benefits. The role of the family is not just to nurture and protect individuals, but to raise them to be responsible, compassionate, and active members of the larger community. Families teach their children the importance of being good citizens, helping others, upholding justice, and contributing positively to society. In turn, a community that values family is a community that is strong, resilient, and capable of overcoming challenges together. By teaching the Quran to children, respecting elders, honoring women, and protecting our neighbors, we lay the groundwork for a flourishing and harmonious society, one rooted in the values of Islam. In life, we are bound to face numerous challenges, difficulties, and setbacks. These hardships can come in many forms: personal losses, health struggles, financial problems, or emotional burdens that sometimes make us question our purpose or feel overwhelmed by the weight of the world. Yet as Muslims, we are reminded by the teachings of the Quran and the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad to never lose hope, no matter how difficult the situation may seem. Every trial we face is a test from Allah, and within each test lies the potential for growth, spiritual elevation, and reward. The key to navigating these tests is to place our trust in Allah's plan, knowing that He is the best of planners and that He will never burden us with more than we can bear. One of the central themes of Islam is the concept of tawakkul, the trust and reliance upon Allah. This trust is not passive. It is an active belief that no matter how dire the circumstances, Allah is in control, and His wisdom surpasses our understanding. The Quran assures us, "Do not kill yourselves. Indeed, Allah is ever merciful to you." This verse reminds us that even when we feel despair or helpless, we must not allow our emotions to cloud our judgment or lead us to give up hope. Instead, we are encouraged to face our trials with resilience and patience, knowing that Allah's mercy is always with us, even in our darkest moments. It is essential to understand that hardships are an inevitable part of life. Allah Himself tells us in the Quran, "Do not think those who are killed in the way of Allah are dead. Rather, they are alive with their Lord, receiving provision." This verse serves as a reminder that life and death, joy and sorrow, prosperity and adversity, all lie within the will of Allah. Everything that happens in our lives is part of a greater plan, and while we may not always understand the reasons behind our suffering, we are taught to trust that Allah has a purpose for it. It is this trust in Allah's plan that helps believers find strength in the face of adversity. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Whoever Allah intends good for, He inflicts them with hardship." This hadith indicates that challenges and difficulties are not signs of Allah's displeasure, but rather a means by which Allah purifies and strengthens the believer. Through these tests, Allah offers us opportunities for growth, teaching us patience, perseverance, and gratitude, shukr. Every difficulty we face is a chance to increase our reliance on Allah, to turn to Him in prayer, and to seek His guidance. At times, the weight of our trials may cause us to feel as though there is no way out, and it may seem like hope is slipping away. However, it is precisely in those moments that we are called to strengthen our trust in Allah. Allah assures us in the Quran, "So truly where there is hardship, there is also ease." This verse teaches us that no matter how hard our trials may seem, relief will come, and Allah will provide a way out. The hardship may be prolonged, or it may pass quickly, but the key is that we do not give up hope, because Allah's mercy is always present, and His plans are always better than our own. The concept of sabar, patience, plays a crucial role in navigating difficulties with hope and trust. Patience in Islam is not simply about passively enduring hardship. It is about maintaining steadfastness and holding on to faith, even when we do not see an immediate resolution. When we are patient, we acknowledge that we are powerless over the events that occur, but we know that Allah's power is infinite. The Prophet taught us that there is reward in every moment of patience. How amazing is the affair of the believer, for his affairs are all good. If something good happens to him, he is thankful, and that is good for him. If something bad happens to him, he is thankful, and that is good for him. If something bad happens to him, he is patient, and that is good for him. This hadith encourages us to maintain an attitude of gratitude in times of ease and patience in times of difficulty, knowing that both are avenues for spiritual growth and divine reward. Trusting in Allah's plan also involves seeking Allah's guidance through prayer and supplication. When we face difficulties, we should turn to Allah and ask for His help, knowing that He is the best of helpers. The Quran reminds us that Allah is always near and responds to the calls of the sincere believer. And when my servants ask you concerning me, indeed I am near. I respond to the invocation of the supplicant when he calls upon me. This verse serves as a reminder that Allah is always present in our lives, and He is more than willing to listen to our concerns and grant us relief when we seek His mercy. Additionally, Islam teaches us that tests and trials are a means of cleansing our hearts and purifying our souls. Every challenge is an opportunity to detach ourselves from the material world and focus more deeply on our relationship with Allah. Through these tests, we are reminded of our dependence on Allah and our need to turn to Him for guidance and support. Even if we do not immediately see the fruits of our patience or the resolution of our problems, we must remember that Allah's plan is always unfolding in ways that are beyond our comprehension. Moreover, hardships allow us to empathize with others who are going through similar struggles. When we endure difficulties with patience, we become more compassionate and understanding toward the suffering of others. This sense of empathy strengthens the bonds of the Muslim Ummah and allows us to support one another in meaningful ways. It also serves as a reminder that we are not alone in our trials, as Allah has provided us with a community of believers to offer support, advice, and encouragement. Ultimately, hope and trust in Allah's plan are integral to navigating the difficulties of life with faith and perseverance. Every hardship is an opportunity to draw closer to Allah, to strengthen our character, and to earn rewards that will benefit us in this world and the next. Even when we feel overwhelmed, we must remember that Allah's mercy is vast, and His plan for us is always for our ultimate good. By trusting in His wisdom and placing our hope in His mercy, we can find peace, resilience, and the strength to overcome any trial that comes our way.